Nutrition science is notoriously tricky. Everyone eats, everyone has opinions about food, and yet pinning down solid evidence, the kind that holds up to scientific scrutiny, is harder than it sounds. Enter the randomized crossover trial, a clever design that's especially powerful when we want to know what whole foods actually do inside the human body. It's the experimental equivalent of putting your subject through a culinary version of Freaky Friday. They try one diet, switch, then try another, all while being their own perfect control. And when this kind of study is used to test foods like pistachios, you get a remarkably clear picture of just how potent a handful of nuts can be. Let's break it down. In a randomized crossover trial, participants go through multiple intervention periods. For example, for weeks eating a pistachio-enriched diet, then 4 weeks eating a control diet, maybe one matched for calories or macronutrients, but minus the nuts. There's usually a washout period in between so their system resets. The magic of this design lies in the fact that every person serves as their own control. That means fewer variables muddying the waters. No worrying that one person had better gut health to begin with, or another was secretly sneaking in kale chips. This design is particularly helpful in nutrition, where responses to food can vary wildly based on genetics, microbiome composition, baseline metabolic status, and even mood. With crossover trials, that variability gets neutralized. We're no longer comparing person A's pistachio metabolism to person B's cracker metabolism. We're comparing how the same person responds to different snacks. It's like running a food experiment inside your own body, just with a lot more stool samples and scientific dignity. Now, when researchers used this method to study pistachios, the results were more than just nutty. They were revealing. Participants who consumed pistachios daily showed favorable shifts in gut microbiome composition, with increases in beneficial bacteria like Lactospiraceae and Bifidobacterium. These weren't just statistical blips. They were functionally meaningful changes tied to improved short-chain fatty acid production, better glucose regulation, and lower inflammatory markers. And because of the crossover design, we know these changes were due to the pistachios, not differences in participants' baseline health or eating patterns. Another strength of crossover trials? They work beautifully with whole foods. Isolating a single nutrient like vitamin E or fiber can tell us something, but it often misses the point. Whole foods operate as complex symphonies, not solo acts. Pistachios, for instance, bring fiber, polyphenol, plant protein, healthy fats, and bioactive compounds all in one crunchy package. Crossover studies let us test that entire bundle of effects, rather than trying to tease apart which compound deserves the credit. Spoiler: it's probably the teamwork. Of course, no study design is perfect. Crossover trials can take longer, require more participant commitment, and need careful scheduling to avoid carryover effects. But for assessing real-world dietary impacts, like what happens when you replace a processed bedtime snack with a small serving of pistachios, they're about as close as we get to a nutritional microscope. So the next time someone rolls their eyes at the idea that a food as humble as pistachios could meaningfully improve gut health or metabolic markers, just hand them a crossover trial. And maybe a handful of nuts. Because in science, as in snacking, what matters most is not what you think works. It's what actually holds up when you test it. Twice. On the same person, while measuring their gut bacteria. Welcome to the future of food research.